I want to take a few minutes to talk about the assignment on process versus product. Your book talks about process art and the benefits of process-oriented creative experiences. And then you're linked to an NAEYC website that walks you through what process looks like versus product. And so I just want to review that real quickly because that'll be beneficial to you. So process art, you don't have steps to follow. Where a product-oriented art experience, there are steps to follow, whether that's lines of a skit, whether that's specific words to sing in the song and actions to do, or whether that's steps to follow to make a Christmas tree or a handprint flower or a card. Those kinds of things are more product oriented, where a process, you're setting out materials, whether they be music instruments, whether they be random items to put together to make musical instruments, whether it's just writing utensils, a variety of writing utensils and paper and scissors and glue for children just to create and explore, whether it's a tub of recyclables, whether it's Play-Doh sitting out. Play-Doh is a more process oriented. You can't take it with you. Well, you can, but it dries out. But Play-Doh is a really good example of an everyday material that is really more process related, especially if you don't just have a bunch of cookie cutters. Now, if you a lot of times process versus product is how you present the materials. So there's that element, and by no means should we ever think that process always trumps product-oriented experiences. That is not true. But in general, process-oriented activities and experiences are much richer. So the process focuses on the experience and the exploration, where product is focused on what is that end result, whether it be a play, whether it be a performance, whether it be a song that everybody sings. It focuses on the end result. And so because of that, in process art, the art is entirely the child's own. And usually it's because the child chose to make it, where a product-oriented experience, some of it's the child's, but there's often parts of it that have to be fixed by the adult or is heavily influenced by adult decisions. And it can be not the child's choice to even create it. That is not uncommon. I would say in most classrooms, you will find 1 to 2 kids who really don't want to do the art project. And a lot of that is because there is a wrong way. So with a product, there is one way to complete the project, where with a process, there's no right or wrong way. It's about the experience and the exploration. And so because of that, the last bullet point would be process-oriented experiences. There aren't a lot of ideas or patterns or examples online or in books, where with products, go to Pinterest and it's really easy to find oodles of product-oriented experiences, which brings us to the assignment. The assignment has our Pinterest page, and you are going to have 18 pins here that you're going to sort. You have to decide, is this visual, music, or drama? And that's pretty straightforward. And then you have to decide, is the music, drama, or visual experience process or product? There's an exact number of examples, so ultimately it's probably pretty self-correcting once you walk through this. But then you have to tell me why. So for example, the musical scale activity for kids. When you click on it and open it, they're matching notes, but they're also exploring with the sound. So if they're exploring with the sound, notice the word I used, is that process or product? If a child is told we're going to make a tree with our handprints, is that a product or a process? versus we're going to make a design and there's art sitting out, like tissue paper. Is that process or product? And again, some of this is dependent on how you present it. If I presented a stained glass activity and I had lots of examples of how it was going to look in the end and what they might do with it, that would be very product oriented. If I offer tissue paper and regular paper and scissors and crowns and, the materials, and hopefully eventually we learn and we explore this idea of stained glass and what works and what doesn't for shining through the light, all of a sudden I've taken something that could be very product oriented and it's more focused on the process. So if I go back here to my PowerPoint, I'm going to give some examples. Here we see some kids working on an art activity together, and you'll notice there's cotton balls and glue and different kinds of papers. They're making something. They've been given the materials, they're exploring, they're probably talking and working together, but it's their creation. There's no model for it. Their experience is being influenced by what is being offered. So there is some adult control there, but it still is more about the experience, not the end result product. A little girl on a drum, she's banging on that drum and playing. She is experiencing and exploring the sounds, the beat, the rhythm. She's playing the musical instrument and that control of sound, of it's soft and loud and, so again, more experience oriented. The children building with blocks and pretending, they're focused on it's their choices. There's no pattern, there's no right or wrong. They're building what they want and it's more imaginary. They're more simple blocks, right? They're not necessarily Legos where they have to follow directions and create a specific design. There's no book, there's no pattern. These are all great examples of more product-oriented learning and experiences. The children doing the actions together while singing. There's very specific actions they are doing. There's a specific song they are singing. There is value in this song, in this experience, but this is not a creative experience. The children retelling the mitten by using masks as puppets. A wonderful retelling experience, building comprehension, but it is not a creative experience. It is not asking the children to create their own story. If they had those characters and were writing their own story, that would be a creative experience. But retelling the story using puppets is not a creative experience. And then over here, you'll see all these examples of product-oriented. There's a right and a wrong way. It's being controlled by the adult with models to look a certain way on a certain theme. That is a more product-oriented activity. And so going back to the assignment, you're going to sort these pictures here of what is focused on the product, the end result, and what is focused on the experience. And you're going to sort those on that worksheet.